I hear it all the time.
Makeup just gets harder as I get older.
What's the point of wearing makeup if it ends up making things look worse, not better? Today I'm sharing my pro makeup artist secrets that fix 7 of the most common struggles that women face as they age.
Let's go.
Dryness and dehydration.
The areas that used to be very oily are no longer very oily. They're dry. In fact, around my eyes, it gets really dry now.
One of the biggest challenges that I see in my studio with mature skin are issues with dryness and dehydration, which basically means that the makeup ends up clinging to the dry patches or sitting on top of the skin instead of melting and blending seamlessly into the skin. Now, the solution to this really comes down to proper skin prep, but you need to do that skin prep with really excellent products that are catered for this specific reason. So I'm really excited and happy to be partnering with Dalba on this part of the video to share some of those skincare products with you that I think you as my viewers will genuinely love. If you haven't heard of Dalba before, they are a gorgeous skincare brand that actually uses fresh white truffle extract in their formulas. It's a very unique ingredient that helps boost radiance, improves skin elasticity, and really produces a very noticeable difference in the overall appearance of the skin. They have a patented ingredient called Truffle, which is a blend of white truffle and vitamin E. And it's this blend that is packed with antioxidants and has so many benefits for aging skin, like firming, softening the look of fine lines, and very deeply hydrating. Let me start off by showing you their white truffle first spray serum. This is a dual phase mist. So the top is a blend of 4 hydrating oils and the bottom is the Truffle serum. You shake it up, spritz it on the face, and you're left with skin that feels instantly refreshed, plumped, and the best part, super, super glowy. Look at how gorgeous my client's skin looks here. This spray serum is such a great first step in your skincare routine, especially if you're lacking hydration, that #1 issue that many of you face. Something else that kind of makes it different from other spray serums on the market is that you can use it in so many different ways. It's not just a base for makeup. It works before makeup to prep the skin, like I just said, but it also works during the makeup stages. So you can use it to melt powders in, or even to melt or blend cream products in, like cream bronzers, cream blushes, foundations. And then you can use it after makeup to set everything. I even use this in the middle of the day to refresh my complexion. So it's very multifunctional. On this day, after applying it on my client's bare skin and letting it absorb for a minute, I followed it up with Dalba's UV Essence sunscreen. Now this is a chemical formula with an SPF of 50+ that feels incredibly lightweight and breathable. It layers beautifully under makeup and gives an instant boost of hydration and glow. These 2 products together have really elevated my morning routine lately, and I really love using them on clients too, because they always just get so excited about how their skin looks after I apply it on them. 5 stars from me. I highly recommend both of these products. I'll link them in the description box so that you can check them out for yourself later if you want to. Let's move on to problem number 2, and that is larger pores, especially around the nose and the inner cheeks. As we age, we naturally start to lose collagen and elastin, and that causes the skin to sag slightly around the pore, making them look larger and more visible. The good news is that there are ways to minimize the appearance of pores, and one of my favorite tricks is using a pore filling primer like the PoreFessional by Benefit. This formula smooths over the surface of the skin, blurring the look of pores and kind of filling them in to create a more even texture for the foundation to sit on top of. Now, the trick with getting the most out of this primer or these types of primers is mastering how you apply them. Instead of using them on the whole face, that's way too much, you'll want to just take a small amount and press it directly into the areas with visible pores, which is usually around the nose, the cheeks, and even the center of the forehead sometimes. Give it a second to settle before applying foundation on top, and you'll notice your base goes on much smoother. Problem number 3 is foundation settling in fine lines and wrinkles, but the lighter formulas not covering hyperpigmentation or age spots.
I've noticed that I've got more discoloration and age spots, but We're gonna call them sun kisses, how's that? So the older I get, the more shading I have in my face. I tend to just leave it for the most part. I'm usually not worried about it, but if I'm going somewhere where I would like to look a little better, if I'm going to a wedding or something like that, then I will use foundation and try to cover them up. But I find the foundation, it just kind of settles in all the lines, and by the middle of the day, it just feels cakey and thick, and it's not my favorite.
We've all heard it before. As you get older, your foundation should get lighter so it doesn't settle into fine lines. And while I definitely agree with that to a certain extent, it's not a one size fits all rule. If you struggle with things like age spots or hyperpigmentation, a sheer formula just isn't going to give you the evenness you're looking for. And let's be honest for a minute, those lighter textured foundations like tinted moisturizer, skin serums, all of those, they do not last or hold up in hot, humid climates or for long days like weddings or events when you need your makeup to actually stay put. So here's my fix. I like to mix a long wear foundation like Estee Lauder Double Wear with something more hydrating and sheer like the Jones Road Tinted Moisturizer. That way, you still get the staying power and coverage of a fuller foundation, but the finish is softer, more radiant, and way more comfortable on mature skin. When applying, focus on the center of the face first. That's where most of us need the coverage. Then blend outward so it naturally shears out around the jawline and forehead. This gives you coverage where you need it without looking overly heavy. And here's the real game changer. After applying it, go over your face with a damp beauty sponge. This helps melt the product into the skin. It lifts any excess product and smooths everything out. You can even spray the D'Alba First Spray Serum directly onto the sponge if you need a boost of hydration, and that will help melt the product in even better. It will look so seamless if you do it this way. Now, if you notice hyperpigmentation still shining through after this step, don't worry, because we are going to fix that in a second in a much more strategic way. Under eye depth and darkness.
That has actually been an issue for me forever. I've always had dark circles just because of the color of my skin. The older I get, the harder it is to cover them up. It used to be that I could use a creamy kind of cover up, and that seemed to sort of work. But everything now just sort of sits in all the wrinkles.
One of the most common things I hear in this age demographic is no matter what concealer I use, I still look tired or it creases so badly that I just look older, and I get it. First things first, hydration is key like it is for the rest of the face, but it has to be the right kind of moisture. A lot of people go in with a thick eye cream, but if it's too rich, it can actually make your concealer crease and slide around a lot. So instead, use something lightweight and very fast absorbing to give the skin bounce without a very heavy residue load, if you know what I mean. I recommend using a super hydrating toner in this area before your makeup products. D'Alba also has one that is just phenomenal. Next is color correction, and this is where a lot of the magic happens. If your under eye darkness leans blue or purple, you typically have light to medium skin tone, so a peach or a salmon toned corrector will help neutralize it before concealer. If you have fair to light skin, you'll likely want to try more of a pink based corrector. And then for deeper, darker skin tones, something more orange based is gonna work better to neutralize that darkness without turning ashy. I did an entire video on color correctors and how they work, so I'll leave that linked in the pinned comment for you in case you want to learn more later. One thing that I do wanna mention before we move on is that if the discoloration is too strong and you skip correcting, your concealer won't fully cancel it. It'll just lighten it, and that darkness will still peek through looking gray or looking very dull. So this isn't really a step that you can skip if you want your base to be flawless. But once you've corrected, you can then go in with your regular brightening concealer, and it's going to make a huge difference now. Now on this day, I actually used the Bare Minerals Powder Concealer. I was really excited to try this product. You can't get it in Canada, so I bought it when I was in the States. And the reason I wanted to try it is because it's a really creamy powder. Powder under the eyes is generally not a great thing at all, but this has a really creamy texture. And the cool thing is that since it isn't a cream, it doesn't excessively crease. So as you can see, I used it on her entire eyelid. I used it under the eyes over the color corrector, and it really did a beautiful job of brightening the under eye area. If you want to see a whole video on this concealer, it's very, very unique. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll definitely try to make it sooner than later. I've been really impressed with it, I'm not gonna lie. Hyperpigmentation Shining Through Concealer.
Well, the thing about the hyperpigmentation, I think it's called, is I can cover it up and they can look great for a while, but then an hour or 2 hours later, it's like, oh, everything's starting to show up again right through the foundation.
Hyperpigmentation is one of those things that just gets more stubborn with time. And sometimes, no matter how good your foundation is, you will still see that discoloration peeking through. This is another area where a color corrector can be a total game changer. Just like with the under eye darkness, peach will help cancel out brown or purple tones that show up in areas of hyperpigmentation, especially in this particular skin tone. If you're lighter, you might want to lean a little bit softer and pinkier. If you're deeper, you might want to lean a little bit more orangey. Huda Beauty has a great line of very inclusive color correctors that I suggest you guys check out if you're interested in getting one for this reason. In terms of application, I like to apply just a very thin layer of corrector over the darkest spots, and then I go in with a concealer that matches the skin tone exactly. This isn't the place for a brightening shade of concealer. You want it to blend seamlessly into the skin so it actually looks like your complexion, just more even. Now, notice how I am using stippling or tapping motions. You don't want to drag or sweep around the age spots. Pressing it in is what's going to help you build coverage exactly where you need it without lifting the corrector underneath. You can, though, feather out the edges after you've gotten the coverage on the age spot itself. Makeup creasing in fine lines and wrinkles. One of the most common concerns that I hear is creasing, whether it's under the eyes, around the mouth, or in expression lines. Here's the time to do something about it. Now that your concealer, your foundation has had a chance to dry down a little bit, check on it. Where has it creased the most? You'll want to gently tap out any creasing with your fingertips. And if there's any excess product that's built up somewhere, take a Q-tip and remove some of it before setting. For dry or mature skin, it's really important to use a powder that's very finely milled and actually designed for drier skin types. These powders actually contain ingredients like hyaluronic acid, so they set the makeup and prevent creasing without making the skin look flat or dry. It actually hydrates your skin at the same time, which is shocking in a powder, I know, but it does exist. There are definitely more hydrating powders for dry skin, so definitely use one of those. When you are applying, I personally like using a triangular powder puff for more control. I pick up a small amount of powder, I press it evenly into the puff on my hand so it's distributed really well, it's not clumped. And then I gently press and roll it into the skin, focusing only on the areas that tend to crease, like under the eyes, around the smile lines, in the forehead lines, all those places. The goal here isn't to mattify your whole skin, it's just to lock things in where you need to lock them in while still letting the skin look like skin. That's the most youthful way to do it. Brows going gray. Tell me a little bit about your brows. What have you noticed has changed with your brows over the years?
They look thinner in places where they aren't, simply because the hairs now are coming in gray. It was something of a shock to find out that that is a normal part of aging. I didn't expect that one.
Another common change that sneaks up on us is brows starting to go gray. When your brows go gray, they can look more sparse or washed out, even if the shape is still great, even if you still have hair. So the easiest fix for this is a tinted brow gel. It adds instant color, definition, and hold all in one step. If you want to fill in gaps, use your pencil first, soften the tone out with a spoolie, and then sweep this on as a final step. The key here is to brush through in the direction of hair growth, starting in the middle and tail. and then working your way forward with less product on your spoolie. This gives a more natural kind of feathered look and really helps blend those gray hairs in without making the brows look really blocky or just overdone. Now, in order to get all of the makeup to look super seamless and blended, and for the powder to be fully blended in, not sitting on top of the skin, I went back over the complexion again with that D'Alba First Spray Serum. I'm not kidding. This little bottle is good for so many things, so many things. It's like a little miracle product, a little genie in a bottle, if you will. And here's the finished look.
Oh, wow. Hey, wait a minute. Where are my sun kisses? Oh, that's lovely.
Do you like it?
Oh, I love it.
And does it still feel like you?
It still feels like me. Oh, that's exciting. Wow. I get to go out to lunch with my husband now, so.
Yes, and hopefully this is something you can recreate yourself.
That'd be amazing.
Just a few little tweaks from what you're already doing.
Perfect. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Robin.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming.
Thank you.
Now, if you want a deep dive tutorial on how to cover under eye darkness and hollows, you can find that video right here. If you want to learn more about color correctors and how to actually use them in your everyday makeup routine, you'll find that one right here, because this video's over.